Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM, great to welcome back to the radio Ralph McAlister, who assures me he has a humdinger today. Good old-fashioned culture word, that one, Ralph. Good morning to you and welcome.
When you say radio, back to the radio, I feel I should correct you and say, wait a minute, isn't it a wireless? Isn't that...
Well, indeed. I grew up in those days. Absolutely. Yes.
No, but listen, I have been talking quite a lot now. I've written about it, about code name Elaine, which was the story of Nancy Wake.
Yes.
And just totally coincidentally, and I hadn't known it existed, it published 3 years ago. Anyway, this is my book of the week or the month. It's called The Alice Network. It's by an American author called Kate Quinn. Mm-hmm. And it's very much like, it's a spy story, and we've got the covering of two women in the story. We've got Charlie, who's pregnant, and this is 1947, and she's unmarried, and she's led a very privileged life, and she's now trying to sort out her life, and she's in Paris with her parents who don't seem to care very much for her. Mm. So we've got that story going in 1947. And she meets an old, gnarled, terribly tortured fingers older woman called Eve Gardner. And slowly it's developed. It's the story of Eve in tandem with Charlie. Eve was a spy in 1915 in the First World War. And somebody said to me the other day, I didn't know there were any women spies in First World War. And this covers it incredibly well. So we get Eve trying to help people leave Paris, leave France. And we also get Charlie looking for a schoolgirl friend of hers who disappeared during the Second World War. Are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. So you've got these parallel stories, John, and they're quite riveting. They flash back and forward between the protagonists, but they also start dovetailing, getting closer together on reconciling what happens in the 40s, not just what happened in the First World War. It's not a war. Another war story. It's a beautiful love story, a romance, but also very interesting about the details in the Queen of Spies network that seemed to exist at the time. Mm-hmm. So Kate Quinn, I can't quite remember, I'm just not quite sure I can find whether she's written much anymore, but certainly this is a funny and heartwarming, and it's so good. It's just another variation on Nancy Wake in terms of her story, but it's again written from the point of view of these two. Well, one young woman and an older woman. And as I look, there's a series that Kate Quinn, she's a historical writer, and I've not read anything from her before. She's done a series of Rome, which, because of the Alice Network, the one I'm talking about with you now,
yes,
I might just pop into my local Paper Plus and see if I can find a couple of copies, because she is a very good writer. And so that's my rave.
Oh, excellent.
This week.
Not only a very good writer, but I suspect a very good researcher as well. That's where a lot of the work goes into the books, isn't it? Finding out the information.
Absolutely. And both Codename Elaine and this one, the Alice Network, are just crammed with information without it being didactic or polemic, or it's just there, and you just accept that this is the way things were, how people ate in 1947 when there was nothing in Paris except, the occasional frog or whatever, So it's a beautiful piece of period history of the First World War without going into the battles, and the aftermath of the Second World War. So I've been very impressed, yeah, I've just got a whole pile of books back from a friend of mine. I'd forgotten I'd loaned them to her, and I'd read them all, but I usually get a whole pile back from her that she's read and wants me to read, and instead she just brought me a bean salad for my dinner. So I don't know whether that's a fair exchange or not. What do you think?
Well, I think you've just found some old friends with that pile of books, because books are more than inanimate objects on occasions, aren't they?
Oh gosh, yes, I devour them as if I'm eating them.
Yes,
it's just. Just thank goodness we've had that sort of a respite from some pressures, so that we can do exercise and going out and meeting people, and the glorious weather until yesterday continues, doesn't it?
It does. We've had a wonderful run, and it's been great talking to you once again, Ralph McAlister. What was the name of the book again?
The Alice, that's her name, the Alice Network. Alice was the one who organised the network of spies in the 40s, and that's why they called it the Alice Network. And good title once you get your head around it.
Excellent. Available at your wonderful local bookshop. Do support them. Ralph McAlister, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome very much, John.
106.3 Beach FM.